Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. May I have your attention, please? Welcome to Railfest 2010, our fourth annual Railfest. And I can't think of a better way to kick it off than to have Crystal Rose, our guest returning from last year, to sing our national anthem. So you join me to welcome Crystal Rose.
If any veterans would like to step forward and be recognized on this song when you hear your anthem, please do so we can applaud and recognize you. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Adam boys, give 'em the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one terrible roar. We live in fame or go down in flame. Oh, nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. Over hill, over dale, we have hit the dusty trail as the caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, counter marching right about as the caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high, he in the field artillery. Shout out your numbers loud and strong. For wherever you go, you will always know that the caissons go rolling along. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. His truth is marching on. His truth is marching
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Glad to have you back this year. Now, for all you've been waiting for, Railfest 2010. This year, our theme is passenger rail service past and present. And I think it's very clear as you look around, we have the present. Right behind me is our Scranton Limited, our short train ride that will be operating all day today and tomorrow, pulled with a vintage steam locomotive. We also have behind where you're standing is our 3254. Should be doing duty also in the yard today. And as you drove into the park today, we had a surprise for everybody. We didn't get rid of all those steam engines that were out there. You'll see them a little later as you tour the park. They're located behind our locomotive shop, undergoing an asbestos abatement program. And maybe some of you saw that on the news. It was a little sensationalized that said we might not have this event because of the asbestos. But I assure you, the asbestos is being abated in closed doors and so forth. But the surprise was that our friends from Amtrak, our strong partners for many years here at the park, supporting numerous programs that we offer each year. And that train came up from Washington, D.C., up to Albany, down through Binghamton, arrived last night, and we kept it all intact and brought it all the way through our core complex and put it out in the premier display area. You'll get a chance to tour that train today to look at railroading present. And I'll give you a little teaser, and you have to ask the train crew, and my friends at Amtrak, I hope I have the numbers correct, but I was told last night by their head dispatcher that they dispatch 1,400 trains a day out of Penn Central Station, New York. That's no small feat. And I think the gentleman told me they move more passengers in one day out of New York than all the 3 major airports in the area there. So hats off to Amtrak. Good partners. We have an awful lot of other partners that I want to recognize too a little bit that make this event possible. But I want to highlight some of the other equipment that's here. Not only our own stable of steam, passenger cars, business car, railway postal car, our technical museum, our history museum, and so forth. But we have a Norfolk Southern number 999, a battery diesel locomotive over here on the turntable. We have the DL&W F3 diesel locomotives from Tri-State and National Railway Historical Society. And the anthracite railroads. They're on display sporting new Delaware-Lackawanna colors. The Reading Company FP7 units are out of the park presently. Talk about railroading in the past, blending with the present. That train left here at 7 a.m. this morning and went to East Stroudsburg. She'll pick up a few hundred passengers and return here to the park just before noon, bringing more guests for the event today. And the train will be freshened up, and you'll be able to ride it to Moscow at 1 o'clock and returning to the park about 2 hours later. And then we'll freshen the train up one more time at the end of the day and take all of our visitors that arrive by train back to East Stroudsburg at the end of the day. But while you're here, we also have the Canadian Pacific SD90 Mack diesel. It's one of the largest diesel locomotives down from Canada. They brought also an Olympic container car sporting colors to commemorate this year's Olympics. And if you look closely, almost every employee of the CP Railroad has their signature on the side of the car. Can't forget our good partners, the Delaware-Lackawanna Railroad, who without them we couldn't operate our excursions and provide that visitor experience on a daily basis. Right next to us is the Chuck Reed Miller number 405, commemorating a great partner of the Delaware-Lackawanna Railroad, and be more about that later. But she's looking good, all painted up and nice and clean. We'll also have, on a smaller scale, our live steamers operating behind the roundhouse. You get to see a live steam scale model operating locomotive and consist. We have the Frank Berry photo exhibit upstairs in our exhibit building. We have the Lackawanna Heritage Valley Authority exhibit, the Pennsylvania Anthracite Heritage Museum and Iron Furnaces exhibit, Everhart Museum exhibit, Lackawanna State Parks has an exhibit. Amtrak will also have, we'll have two rangers here to talk about their Trails to Rails program. And for everybody, kids and adults alike, don't forget the Lego exhibit by Penn Lug Lego over in our History Museum, right to your left. Last but not least, the Erie Lackawanna Dining Car is on display on the other side of our parking lot. And what a fine piece of equipment that is, and that'll be open for tours also today. As I mentioned, to pull off an event like this, it takes an awful lot of effort and a lot of partners. We can't do it alone here at Steamtown. I have one of the best organizations here in the Park Service, I believe, in my opinion, and I've been in the Park Service 34 years. My paid staff, volunteers, seasonals, and of course our partners make all this possible. I want to recognize the Lackawanna Heritage Valley Authority and its board of directors, whomever is here today. Natalie Soffinelli is the executive director. The Canadian Pacific Railway, another strong partner of ours. They bring their Christmas train in here each fall, or first weekend in December, right after Thanksgiving, and have helped us sponsor trips over the Nicholson Viaduct and most recently to Sunbury for the NHS convention back in June. Also, working with the Delaware-Lackawanna Railroad, the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Rail Authority and its board of directors, and Larry Mowski, the executive director. They are most instrumental to making all this possible for us to run on their track on the Pocono, Maine, and provide that experience for the visitor. I mentioned the Genesee Valley Transportation Company, which is the Delaware-Lackawanna Railroad Pocono division here in Scranton, with David Monteverdi as the president of that company. Another strong partner of ours that helps us with the programs, interpretive education programs, the Lackawanna County Historical Society and its trustees and executive director, Marianne Safakinis, is here today. Another strong partner from the area is Chester Calusa, the site manager of the Pennsylvania Anthracite Heritage Museum and Iron Furnaces, the Lackawanna County Trolley Museum, which is also on our campus on the west end of the park. They'll be operating electric trolleys all day today, which will be another venue for the visitor. The Lackawanna and Wyoming Valley chapter of the National Railway Historic Society and their volunteers always helping us with the refreshments at Moscow, helping us restore the Boston to Maine locomotive, rail camp, and numerous other programs in the park. The Everhart Museum, Neska Pfeiffer, has always been there to help us with exhibitry, traveling exhibits to the park. The Lackawanna State Parks are here with a exhibit upstairs. And as I mentioned, the Amtrak Trails to Rails program, Tom McMartin and Mike Atherith, they'll be doing the programs in our theater a little later. And two other key partners, these guys are really the workhorses. Our Railfest Planning Committee, and I know I'll miss a name if I try to name everybody, but this is the third year that they've really joined up with us and have made a lot of things possible that we couldn't do it alone. So I want to thank that group that has worked with our staff tirelessly year-round. They just don't meet 2 months before this event. We'll start meeting on next year's event later this month. Last but not least, this is the second year we've partnered up with the Italian Festival that's going on downtown Scranton today. And Chris DiMatteo, who is the president of La Festa Italiana Committee, he's also president of Unico, an organization that he is very proud of, and some of their members are here today with us. Chris, he's one of the busiest guys I know. He's running in a million directions. The Italian Festival, it takes up an awful lot of time, as you can see if you've been over there, with all the events and the vendors, and yet still he has time to work with us to make this possible. So I'd like to extend some appreciation to Chris, if he'd come up to the podium. We got something for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, now I got to read this, Chris.
No,
yeah.
no.
We put a lot of thought into this. And I'm doing it without glasses, too. Proclamation, Mr. Christopher L. DiMatteo. Whereas Mr. Christopher L. DiMatteo is a most distinguished citizen of Moscow, Pennsylvania, who has selflessly devoted his life to his family, his church, and his community. And whereas Mr. DiMatteo has been a leader in the business community of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and a national officer of Unico, our nation's leading Italian-American service organization. And whereas Mr. DiMatteo has been the energetic president of La Festa Italiana, the great celebration of Labor Day weekend that annually draws more than 100,000 people of all backgrounds to Scranton. And whereas Mr. DiMatteo has established a strong partnership with Steamtown National Historic Site and with Railfest Committee to enhance the mutual celebrations of La Festa Italiana and Railfest. Now therefore, by unanimous acclamation and with profound gratitude, does the Railfest Committee proclaim Mr. Christopher L. DiMatteo to be Grand Marshal of Railfest 2010, given this 4th day of September 2010 at Scranton, PA. Okay. All right, buddy. We got one more. You can have that.
Don't read it.
Don't read it. Don't say, yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
This is a special appreciation award presented to Chris as Grand Marshal from Steamtown, in appreciation for your continuing support and dedication to the educational and interpretive programs that further public understanding and appreciation of the role that railroading continues to play in the development of the United States. Signed, Harold Hagan, Superintendent, Steamtown National Historic Site.
Thank you so much. This is just a wonderful day and a great event because the weather is terrific and the sunshine is going to be here. Thank God. Earl is, I think that steam kind of pushed Earl way over to the east, so that's terrific. But on behalf of La Festa Italiana, on behalf of Unico National, I want to congratulate Railfest. It was a few years ago when Charlie Liberto, where's Charlie, and Frank, there they are. Those folks approached us. Give those two gentlemen a round of applause. They come up from the Philadelphia area. We meet on almost every other week. It's a terrific meeting. We socialize, but then it's all about so many numerous items that goes into this planning this event. Many Italians came to this area to work in the railroads, to work in the mines, to make sure that this industrial development that we had here so many years ago was successful. And all of us here are a part of that. So on behalf of La Festa, number one, I congratulate you. Number two, we invite you over to La Festa. We have a trolley, thanks to Lackawanna County and the Colts transit system, that'll take you from the parking lot here, the entranceway of Steamtown, right over to the entrance of La Festa, and of course back. So after you got an appetite, developed an appetite here, come on over and we'll surely fill you up, that's for sure. So on behalf of all of us at La Festa and Unico and everyone here in northeastern Pennsylvania, congratulations again. Dom, great job. And thank you very much, Kip. This is certainly a wonderful honor. My son's in a soccer game right now, but he will be down in a few hours, and so we'll be back again for the weekend. He is definitely, I think, one of the best customers here, my little 5-year-old. And congratulations to all. Thank you.
Okay, I want to keep things moving because I know you want to see what's going on here in the park. I'd like next to introduce our County Commissioner, Mike Washoe. Have a few words about today and the events in the county.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here with you. As I stood next to the locomotives, I couldn't help but think about the significance of Steamtown National Historic Site. Do you know, when we think about being a unit of the National Park Service, we think about being a part of something that's so large, that stretches everywhere from Yellowstone to Yosemite, that stretches from Gettysburg to Valley Forge, and stretches right here to Scranton, Pennsylvania. And everywhere throughout the United States, we're all seeking community. And celebrating our history enables us to have a real sense of community and get a real sense of satisfaction. You know, where we stand here didn't just come about by accident. 25 years ago, this was a weed-strewn, decaying area of our history. And at that time, Congressman Joe McDade, I mentioned one person because if there's one name that you would mention, it would be Congressman Joe McDade, saw the importance of this and took on the challenge of turning this into a unit of the National Park Service. And aren't we ever so lucky today, because we continue to build on our history. So today is a celebration of the history of northeastern Pennsylvania, the history of Lackawanna County, the history of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and the contributions that we made to the history of the United States, to the Industrial Revolution in the United States. Do you know, in the 1880s and the 1890s, we were a part of one of the 50 largest cities in the United States and one of the most industrialized cities in the United States. So what the National Park Service does here on behalf of all of us is ever so important, because it enables us to celebrate an important component of the history of the United States, and enables us to gather together as a community and celebrate that. And in addition, this has now been linked with the Italian Festival. And isn't that wonderful? As Chris DiMatteo said, the Italian Americans contributed mightily to the history of railroading, to the history of mining, and to the history of this region. So, as one of your county commissioners, it's a great pleasure for me to be here and share in all the festivity, all the excitement, all the joy. I venture to say, every community wants to be unique. Every community says that it's special. How many communities in America are people riding on steam today? This is really special, in a special place, and you're all special people, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate with you. And take all this in, and remember, the Italian Festival is Saturday, it's Sunday, and it's Monday. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, I would like to introduce the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Rail Authority. As I mentioned, a very key partner to the operation of this park, Mr. Larry Mowski.
Thank you, Kip, and again, welcome to everyone on behalf of the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Railroad Authority. We've been around for 26 years now, and our mission has been to preserve, acquire, and rehabilitate the rail lines in Northeast Pennsylvania. And I just might say, a very quick capsule of history. During the 70s and 80s, it was a pretty bleak future. Many of the lines were being abandoned and liquidated. Our mission, again, was to try to preserve as much of that as possible. We feel we've done a very good job in that we've preserved almost 100 miles of railroad right-of-way and track in northeastern Pennsylvania that, again, was about to be abandoned and liquidated by the Class I, the large railroads back then. And it's because of that we've been able to do a good economic development and freight rehabilitation project with the industries in the area, but much more importantly, that 100 miles provides the Steamtown National Historic Site with 100 miles of mainline trackage that they can run their steam excursions over. And that makes for world-class excursions, steam-powered excursions, that does not occur anywhere else in the United States. So we're thrilled to have been a part of that. I'd like to just offer a few thanks, again, to some of the people who have made this possible. Number one, I'd like to thank Amtrak. And I'd like to thank Brian Gallagher and his crew. Is Brian around? I saw him. There he is right there. Brian is President Boardman's right-hand man. And as you might remember, President Boardman, president of Amtrak, was here last year as our keynote and as our Grand Marshal. And it's because of people like Brian, who sit, again, at the right hand of the President, that we're able to get the type of participation we have with that beautiful train set that you see sitting out in front. And, you know, I had the great opportunity of riding with Brian and his team yesterday, and he kind of figured out our secret strategy here in Scranton, and I hope he's going to keep it quiet. But the secret strategy has been to invite Amtrak every year and have them go through all that they go through to get the resources, the money, and everything else to bring all of that equipment here to Scranton. It's not an easy task, believe me. But our secret plan, of course, is that some bean counter down in Washington's going to start looking at those costs and the resources and start coming to the conclusion that it's just going to be a lot easier to run a regular daily train through Scranton with Amtrak. And then the equipment will just be here. They don't have to go through all of this stuff that we do every year. But again, I want to thank Brian and President Boardman and his whole team that came down, and just tremendous people, and they really make this every year. I'd also like to thank Morristown and Erie, who brought the private rail car down. It'll be open for viewing. It shows you how it was in the past, but it'll also show you what the many people are doing with private cars right now as we go forward in time. And lastly, I would like to, again, extend a real thanks to our contract rail operator, the Delaware Lackawanna. President David Monteverde's here, Pete Nicholas is here, and Lori Ransom, and all the employees of the Delaware Lackawanna, which is our local freight carrier. Without them, again, everything you see couldn't happen. They do so much behind the scenes to get all this in, get all this out, and again, it's another partner who deserves credit, and I just wanted to do that. Finally, I have 2 or 3 members of my board here, Greg Christine, Dominic Keating, and I believe Jerry Weinberger's here. I want to thank them for coming and for all the support that they give us on the board of directors of the Railroad Authority.
Thank you, Kip. If I could ask any of the trustees of the Lackawanna Historical Society who are here to just come up and stand here, since we are presenting this award on behalf of the Historical Society. I know our president, Michael Gilmartin, is here, Ella Rayburn, Joe Sumini, Linda Lynett. If you just come up here. And also Judy Sweeney is here. So Judy Sweeney is Alan Sweeney's wife, and we'd like Judy to be here for the presentation. Kathy Keating. I knew I was missing somebody. And if I could ask Dominic Keating to come up too. Thank you. Okay. Last year, the Lackawanna Historical Society was honored to present the first annual Alan Sweeney Award to Dominic Keating. The award was conceived to honor Alan and recognize a person who embodied everything that Alan's memory represents in our community, a person who is dedicated to promoting local history and who offers his time, talent, and knowledge unendingly. This year, we are pleased to continue this tradition, and like Dominic Keating, our 2010 recipient of the Alan Sweeney Award is also a lifelong resident of northeastern Pennsylvania and has had a profound love of railroads since he was a child. He has fond memories of his youth when the trains ran regularly behind his house. He is an avid rail fan and over the years has amassed a sizable collection of just about anything train-related. And for more than a dozen years, he has planned and participated in an annual trip with his buddies to shoot rail photography across North America. Today's award recipient grew up in Dixon City and graduated from Dixon City High School, after which he attended the Johnson School and then worked for several years in the construction business, before finally getting hired by the Delaware and Hudson Railroad in 1979, which became part of the Canadian Pacific in 1991. He started as a trainman, and then a conductor, then an engineer, and for the past 12 years has been a rail manager technical. His regular responsibilities include conducting evaluations on engineers for certification and overseeing the supervision and role of engineers and conductors in his territory. He has also held the position of safety committee leader in Taylor since 2003. Our honoree has always been active in our community, and as a volunteer of Steamtown National Historic Site, he continues to play a major role in planning events like this weekend's Railfest, in which he was responsible for much of the visiting equipment that you see on the site today. He has also been the driving force behind the annual holiday train and is a key participant in the annual Toys for Tots, which is a joint initiative between the U.S. Marine Corps and the Canadian Pacific. He actively serves on the board of directors of the Lackawanna and Wyoming Railway Historical Society and the Northeast Chair of the New York, Ontario, and Western Historical Society. He has been instrumental with the local Rails to Trails projects. When not working or volunteering on railroad-related projects, he spends time researching his genealogy and is active in his church. He and his wife, Joan, have been married for 41 years and have raised a wonderful family, including their son, Scott, daughter-in-law, Brenda, daughter, Heather, and 6 grandchildren, Taylor, Dylan, Hope, Scott, Kayla, and Elizabeth. So on October 19th, today's awardee will mark another milestone when he retires after 31 years of railroading. But if anyone asked him, I think he would still say his favorite part of the job is being on the trains. And now it is my privilege to present the 2010 Alan Sweeney Award in recognition of unwavering dedication to the interpretation of local history to encourage embracing our heritage throughout the Lackawanna Valley to Norm Barrett. Norm?
I'm not usually at a loss for words, but I am right now. This is totally unexpected, and I really appreciate it. And I have a love for Scranton, for Lackawanna County, and a love for railroading. And I had a few senior managers that I butted heads with, and I finally had one come to me after a confrontation and say to me, he said, "I understand you now." He says, "You have a passion for railroading." And I do. And I'm going to be retired. It's not October 19th, it's September 19th. So it's 2 weeks tomorrow. I'll be running my last train for pay. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop running trains, because I already volunteer at Steamtown. I plan on the day after retiring being here to take a trip to Carbondale. So like I said, it goes on, and I also want to keep history going, because I think it's important that we preserve our history. And it's just phenomenal to have a live steam museum that is not only a museum but a national park right here in our area. So thank you very much again.
Don't go away. Stay right here. I understand Norm's family's here. Please come on up. Commissioner Washoe, I think you have something to say here.
You know, Norm, in my business, you get to retire either late at night when you're involved in a close election that you lose, or early in the evening when you lose. But it's really nice to be at a celebration where a career is being talked about the way your career has been talked about. Those of us who come out for the food drive that night after Thanksgiving, where thousands of people gather just down the tracks, a little ways down the tracks, bringing their bags of canned goods to share with others throughout the community, have some idea of the contribution that Norm has made. You know, it's one thing to be interested in railroading, but it's another thing to be interested in railroading and your neighbors and their well-being. And you've done just such a spectacular job. It's one of the great thrills I have to say in this job. After I was elected, Corey and I came to the food drive. It was that month. I just felt so good all over. Not because of anything I was doing, but because what you were doing on behalf of Canadian Pacific. So you've been so generous to the community that it's appropriate that I have the opportunity to recognize you on behalf of the county commissioners of Lackawanna County in presenting this proclamation, which I'm not going to read because everything I have here has been read. Mary Ann did such a beautiful job. But what I'm going to do that's different, I'm going to declare today on behalf of the Lackawanna County Commissioners, Corey D. O'Brien, A.J. Munchak, and Michael J. Washoe, this to be Norman J. Barrett Day in Lackawanna County in all 40 municipalities, from Scranton to Dixon to Moosic to Old Forge to Carbondale to Mayfield to German to you wherever you want it to be and to wherever you are from. Norm, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the North Pocono area, too.
Thank you again, Commissioner Washoe, and I really appreciate it. And I've been volunteering since I've been in high school, and I plan on continuing to keep my volunteering going, too. Thank you.
Congratulations, Norm. Congratulations to his family, and thank you for the nice words, Commissioner. Now, last but not least, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the Genesee Valley Transportation Company for the Chuck Reed Miller presentation by President David J. Monteverdi. There he is.
Thank you, and I'm not going to guarantee I can get through this without shedding a tear. Chuck was a dear friend of mine, and I was crying at the national anthem, so I'm going to give it a try. But first of all, I want to bring up all my people, friends, partner, Mike Thomas, my son Charlie and Philip Monteverdi, Charlie and Teddy, excuse me. Teddy, come on. Come on up here. And then Mike Thomas, Don Coangelo, who works as our CMO, and his family, his wife is here. Come on up, please. I want to just say thank you. Mike Thomas, my partner, who listens to all my dreams and says yes most of the time. And one of the dreams was this locomotive. And here comes Donnie and Lori Ransom and Peter Necklace, who run our railroad down here, do a great job. You're in a crowd someplace, I heard. Please come up. I want to introduce, this is the people that are helping me do things and help us make an operation down there. Next, I want to introduce Chuck Reed Miller's family. What we're here for is to dedicate this locomotive to Chuck's memory. And I want to introduce Diane Reed Miller. Come on up, Diane. His son, Jamie, his son, Jeff, Jeff's wife, Kimberly, and their lovely daughter, Hannah, who's sound asleep. Now, Chuck, this would have been Chuck's granddaughter, and he would have loved to have seen this. And Chuck Hassel had a daughter who has joined Chuck in the heavenly skies of Julie, passed away shortly after Chuck did. But this is Chuck's lovely family and his granddaughter, which I'm sure he would have loved. And Charlie Liberto, I want to thank him. I want to thank Steamtown for everything. Can I go mobile? Steamtown for everything that they've done to help us set this up. I want to thank Charlie Liberto, too. It was Charlie's idea to dedicate this engine. And I want to read this plaque that Charlie presented did for Chuck. It's a remembrance of Chuck Reed Miller, who touched and benefited so many lives in his journey through life. His efforts and hard work brought true success and joy to the rails. Chuck, we will meet you on the Heavenly Express at the Eternity Railroad. Thank you for all you have done for so many people. And that's so true of Chuck. If you knew Chuck, the picture of him here that I had, he was always very up and very cheerful. He was very helpful in setting Genesee Valley Transportation up and starting it down this road of success after 21 years. And he's always famous to saying, hi babe, how you doing? He was always, that picture is very representative of Chuck. He was a great guy, and we miss him terribly. And I want to present this plaque to Diane. And also Charlie and Roberto, which brought a tear to my eyes. He's got a picture of Chuck in a locomotive, and it's on the Heavenly Express on the Eternity Railroad. It's the memory of Charles J. Reed Miller. And he was a great person. If he touched your life, you have a good memory of Chuck. If he didn't touch his life, I'm trying to relate to you today a little bit what Chuck was like to all of us. He was very instrumental in helping GBT get started and a lot of our successes. I got a little speech that I did when this locomotive was painted, and I came to Donnie, he's our CMO, or Chief Mechanical Officer, and we came up with this idea of painting it and putting the color scheme on it and dedicating it to Chuck. It's quite a nice story. My dear friend Chuck passed away on January 9th, 2004. He was one of the founding partners and Senior Vice President of Marketing for GBT Rail. Chuck was a great father and a great grandfather to everybody, a great grandfather and a friend to everyone who knew him. Having lived in Batavia since he was before the formation of Conrail, he grew fond of the Lehigh Valley Railroad, whose main line ran through the southern part of the city. His favorite power on the Lehigh Valley was the Alco C420s, which is right here. This is the Lehigh Valley C420. This very unit was built at Schenectady in 1964. the year I graduated from high school. That dates me too. And Donnie and his crew have carefully crafted this locomotive back into being a piece of working equipment that we use every day to haul freight over the Poconos. When the opportunity came for GBT to purchase the 420 Indiana High Rail, it arrived in a simple red primer with a stripe down the side, and there goes Chuck. Ted, hold it, would you please? I got a special story about that plant, which I'll do at the end. As we kept washing and power washing the locomotive, it kept revealing different color schemes, the Delaware Hudson 1, Delaware Hudson 2, Lehigh Valley maroon color, and then also this original yellow jacket color. So after 45 years, it was down to kind of a disgraceful locomotive, but it was still hauling the freight. The boys at the shop had an idea of getting these logos. This is the Genesee Valley logo, is also the Lehigh Valley logos on the locomotives. They're actually metal cut-offs, original signs that are on the locomotive. The unit made its first revenue service trip in October 13, 2010 on PT 98 from Scranton to Slateford, 120-mile round trip. The 405 was empty with two of our locomotives that are outside, and we departed Scranton on a gray, overcast day. And suddenly, the sun broke out just as the train was ready to leave. It was like Chuck had just looked down and smiled upon his locomotive, the 405, leaving town for the first time. And the 405 has found a home. And like Miss Phoebe Snow, she will not roam from New York to Buffalo. She's going to stay right here in Scranton and haul freight. So when you see Chuck's spirit pass on the tracks in this locomotive, you see a sunny day, think of Chuck who made all this possible. Now, a little bit lighter note. Excuse me. We had this plant in our office, and Chuck hated this plant. And this is the offset of this plant. It was about 8 feet tall, and I always used to kind of bust Chuck and move it closer to his desk, and he hated this plant. So after Chuck passed, in a number of months, I was cleaning out his desk, and I'm cleaning out his drawer, and I'm going through his drawer, and there's this white powder in this drawer. And I'm looking at this powder, and I finally get down to all the pencils, and there's fingernails, clippings. I said, oh my God, this is Chuck. Chuck would sit on the phone in the morning, and he would clip his fingernails. So here's all this Chuck DNA that was in this drawer. So I couldn't throw it out, so I took the drawer out, and I dumped it into this pot. Well, now, this pot of what we called the plant Chucky, and it got so big, we cut it. This is Chucky number 8, which I told Charlene, Larry's assistant, she needed a plant in her office, so I brought this down, and I thought it'd be a good story. There's like 7 plants. I have one that's almost 6 feet tall. There's 2 more in my office. I'm going to give one to Diane. So this is Chucky living on. His DNA is flowing through that plant, and his spirit is on that locomotive. I just want to thank all of you for coming and listening to my story about my dear partner, Chuck. He was a fantastic person. And those of you who knew him knew that was Chuck right there. And those who didn't know him, I hope I related a little bit of the story about him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. That was a very nice tribute to Mr. Reading. Well, folks, I think you have a chance to get a real insight to the caliber of friends and partners that we have. We are very lucky to have these folks working with us on a daily basis to make our operations that they are today. And again, I want to thank my fine staff, volunteers who work tirelessly to keep the park operational, and everybody working so hard yesterday getting all the exhibits staged and ready for your enjoyment today. Don't forget about the Italian Festival. There'll be shuttles running back and forth. And last but not least, look for this little brochure our staff put together. It highlights what exhibits are here, and on the reverse side, the agenda for the whole day, listing the times of the excursions, the yard shuttle, the caboose rides, the programs going on in our theater, and other displays and exhibits. So with that, I'll wind it up and say thank you. Thanks for coming to Steamtown and supporting us, and enjoy the weekend.